Yo, what's up, guys? Today we got a tier list for side hustles of the summer, or just side hustles in general, depending on when you're watching this. But let's go ahead and get straight into it, man. We got us some banger side hustles. I can't lie to you. Let's go ahead and get straight into it. So I'm gonna assume that this is Amazon reselling, or basically doing the shipping stuff through Amazon or selling it to Amazon. This is a very good side hustle, but the rating of difficulty to get into it and to know what exact products you're able to sell is quite difficult. And for some things such as like video games, it is extremely hard to get licensed because usually you have to have at least 500 units at a time, basically to run like a storefront. And if you don't have that much money or you don't want to do that, it can be quite expensive and quite risky. So I wouldn't say this is a very good side hustle to begin with, but it is quite a interesting one, to say the least. So I'm gonna put it in the C category, as it can be very good, but for people, beginning, like a beginner, it's not really the best. I can't lie, but it's not too bad. All right, Etsy is quite an interesting one. Your scaling of Etsy is not very hard necessarily, but you would have to do something that is very unique, because Etsy right now is, well, almost all of these are very oversaturated, but Etsy especially, a lot of people think they can go on Etsy and just sell things. So whatever you create would really need to be very different. But it can be a very good side hustle. You could probably make, a few hundred to a few $1,000s a month off of it, just really depending on what is your forte. There's a couple other things here that kind of fall into the same realm of Etsy. So I'm going to have to say Etsy is a nice B tier one, because it is creator friendly. I can't lie. And there's a lot of grandmas and older folk on there that, they really do make, a few bucks here and there. It is not my favorite side hustle. It is not something that I have much experience with, but it is a very interesting side hustle, to say the least. Okay, now we have clothing brands, I assume. So your design here. So this is like selling like t-shirts, short. I'm just gonna say clothing. We could just say shirts. This can be very lucrative, very good. Another thing, it's very oversaturated. So there's a couple of different ways you can do this. You could sell copyrighted material, such as like NBA people or memes or anything like that, and have the risk of getting sued or copyrighted. Or you come up with your own design and your own fashion brand and have to market that yourself. So there's a couple different ways you could do this. Selling shirts online is definitely very lucrative, very good. In person is even better, a lot harder, but a lot easier to actually get the sale done. You have to put more man hours into it, but it's quite a skill. If you are a salesman or somebody that can sell, then that can be quite good for you. And the markups on t-shirts, depending on the quality of the shirt, can be quite well. I see a lot of people selling shirts from as low as $5 all the way up to $50 to $100 for a t-shirt. Now, me personally, my price range for certain shirts definitely depends, depending on the quality of the shirt, understandably. So you have like Hanes all the way up to a good cotton blend, polyester. It really just depends. Now, if you're going to go on the low end and just buy like Walmart Hanes tees, not even Hanes, but just Walmart tees, and screen print them, where they're not going to fall apart, but after a few wears they're kind of dingy, then sure, you could probably sell these shirts for like $10 to $12 a piece, and your markup would only probably be like, or your cost of goods would only be about $3-4 if you're buying in bulk. $3 for the shirt plus like $1 or $2 for the design printing, especially if you have your own screen press. If you're going to somewhere else, it can increase more, but you could definitely triple or double your money with selling t-shirts. Now, if you go on the other high end, if you're going to start your own fashion brand, that is something where, it's very expensive to market yourself unless you have more of a local following. But overall, I think it is a very good one. I've actually sold a few t-shirts myself before. I think it's quite good, and there's definitely a community for it. I would put that in the... Okay, so it is quite difficult, but it can be quite lucrative. So I'm going to go ahead and set it in the B tier. It's not elite for me personally, but it is definitely a great way of doing it. Okay, so I'm going to assume AliExpress is drop shipping. See, I don't have that much experience in drop shipping, but based on what I know and the people I know that do it, it can be very lucrative, but very hard and very oversaturated. So I don't really have a big opinion on this per se, but I would say that, with the right determination, all of these can be great, but you're just going to have to know your product. Basically, that's the end of it. You're going to have to know your product, know who you're selling to, know what you're doing, and the cost of getting into drop shipping can be quite pricey. I can't lie. It's not something that I've jumped into whenever I was doing my side hustles, but I think that go ahead and replace that. I would say right now it's probably in the B category. I'm gonna go ahead and move the shirts up. I think the shirts is pretty nice. It's not my favorite side hustle because I don't have that much experience in it, and I feel like the learning curve or the ease of access to it is quite hard. But you could definitely, as people they have made a lot of money off drop shipping. Now, this is probably my top 3 favorite side gig is eBay. I'm going eBay number 1. eBay has been around since the 1990s on Kier, you know what I'm saying? And I've sold and bought on eBay for probably the last 10 years. Even when I was little, I would buy like toys and sell them on there. My mom has a history of eBay. My aunts have a history of eBay. I still use eBay. I think it's one of the greatest marketplaces, and it doesn't really require much to sell on there. Like, you can create an account today, sell things here and there to get your rating up. But me personally, just off the grounds of eBay alone, I made a few hundreds of dollars in just the summer off yard selling, which I wish yard selling was on there, but it is not. But I'm going to go ahead and group eBay and yard selling into the same thing. And understandably, I would say eBay is number 1 because I have made a good amount of money off just buying, niche, very, very niche figurines or very, very niche t-shirts for like $3, $4, $5, maybe $10, and reselling them all the way up from $50 to $200+. Like, for example, I bought a horror t-shirt from the show Tales from the Crypts, and I paid $10 for it. I went on eBay and I sold it within three days. I sold it for almost $225. So almost a 25x return, give or take. So I would say that is a very, very great place to start, and definitely something to do for this summer, most definitely. Now we have shoe reselling. Now, I'm going to sound like an unk here, but I feel like the shoe game has kind of taken a fall off for 2026. Obviously, you can make a quick buck if you go on the day the releases are for certain Jordans, and you can, get in line or go online, buy the shoes, resell them, maybe make $50, $100 per pair on that day. But the days of flipping, obviously there's still sneaker con, obviously there's money to be made, but I just feel like it just kind of took a turn for the worse, because I know people personally in the community that use bots, and they can just use computer and automated systems, especially with AI now, where you could just instant check out and buy hundreds to thousands of pairs all at once online. So it kind of makes online, reselling harder if you're not into that field or you don't know somebody. So definitely something interesting. Still, I don't have that much experience into it. I would give it a C tier. I think obviously there is money to be made here. If you know shoes, then I would raise it up. But me personally, I've never been the one to sell shoes. So I'm going to have to give it a C tier. I can't lie to you. It is not my forte. Obviously, there's bread to be made, but I personally only have like 2 or 3 pairs of shoes. So I'm not a shoe guy. I'm more of a thrifting vintage guy, not a shoe guy. So that's just me personally. Now we got Fiverr. Fiverr is a very interesting one. I have hired people on Fiverr before. I have not worked on Fiverr before. Definitely something to do whenever you have a unique pair of skills, or you just advertise basically anything on there. You could advertise reading scripts, acting, editing. If you have some type of online skill, or even so, if you have some type of just act, you could just advertise yourself on there. So you see people, do voiceovers, you see people do acting, you see people write essays. And the whole concept of Fiverr is to be able to do anything you want for as low as $5. Now, obviously, there's ranges from $5 all the way up to $5,000 on Fiverr. So I think it's definitely something to look into. I've never done it personally. But it's definitely something to do, especially if you're younger, if you can get your parents' permission, or even if you're older. It's definitely something to look into. I would put it into the B tier. It's definitely good. I don't know how the scalability of it because I'm not in that field. So I wouldn't necessarily know the exact understanding of it, but it's definitely something to get into for sure. Now, blogging, I feel like these next two after blogging kind of replaced blogging. Obviously, there's Facebook profiles, Twitters, some websites that people get paid a bunch of money. But I feel like the days of blogging are kind of behind us because of these next two platforms. So I would say blogging is in D tier. Obviously, if you run a very funny Facebook page or a very funny Twitter, you can get paid from it. But I would much rather take these ideas and put them into content with video or even short form content. I wouldn't say it's the worst one. Obviously, I wouldn't say it's the worst one. But for me personally, I just feel like that day of making a blog is a little bit behind us because you're really only getting maybe affiliated marketing, which is still good, or some advertisements on your website. I mean, obviously, like I said, Facebook can pay you and Twitter can pay you, but I just feel like it takes so much work unless you are tapped into these networks of people that are already big and you could boost your stuff on there. But it's just not my forte. I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say it's the worst, though. I'm going to go ahead and see if I can add that's not what I wanted to do. Thank you very much. I don't know how to add a. Here we go. Add a row below. Okay, so I'll put this in F tier. I wouldn't say it's the worst thing in the world, but the idea of blogging is pretty bad. I can't lie. But at Twitter or Facebook, you can definitely get paid off of that. It just is not my forte at all. Now, YouTube's obviously top 3. Top 2, top 3. Honestly, it's between these two is my favorite. I've been paid on both of them pretty handsomely. And I think they are one of the greatest platforms to ever exist of all time. YouTube. That's what you're watching me right now. I'm on YouTube. I've run multiple channels before. My most famous channel was a gaming channel. And I ran it from 2015. I mean, I still do it now somewhat, but my passion ran out in about 2022, 2023 maybe. So I have about, honestly, 11 years in the game, and I can tell you from everything, from the streaming, the content, short form, everything, that it was really fun. And I'm doing it right now, but this channel is not at the level of my gaming channel yet, but it is one of the greatest inventions of all time to be able to get paid or even just showcase your work online through YouTube. I think it is one of the greatest side hustles or things that I've ever done. Now, when you get into the monetary aspect of it, you can lose passion very quickly if you're not getting your expected return. Obviously, there's a lot of celebrities on here that use this as like a cash cow, and obviously it can work that way, but I miss when YouTube was about broadcasting yourself and not just chasing a quick buck. So that's enough about YouTube. I think it is one of the greatest side hustles of all time, and definitely something very good. TikTok, I'm gonna have to put it right under it. I think one of the greatest ways you can get paid. Extremely oversaturated, as like I said again. But another way, a lot of people have made a lot of money off running TikTok accounts. It is basically YouTube 2.0, if I'm being honest, because we have YouTube Shorts, but especially YouTube 2.0, a lot of people are getting paid off of there. Forget Instagram Reels, you don't get paid off there, so I'm not even going to count that. But TikTok is definitely number 2. I would say this is the golden 3. Obviously, YouTube 1, eBay 2, TikTok 3. I think it is the trifecta of side hustles that you could do from home with ease. Not that much money, not that much work. You could literally do YouTube and TikTok for free with just a camera and a device to upload on. It is one of the easiest ways to get into the game, and honestly, you need a lot more work for all of these other side hustles besides these two. So I would say these are the golden 2 right here. And then eBay number 3 because I'm biased. Now we have stock trading. We have Wall Street. So I'm going to go ahead and throw Wall Street. I've also made a pretty good amount of money off trading before. I've lost a lot of money on trading before. Another great side hustle. You will get taught lessons very quickly with trading. You have day trading. You have long-term trading. We could put crypto in there if you really want to, but I'm just going to strictly talk about stocks. One of the greatest side hustles. I've made a lot of money off not really doing much, just doing a little bit of research and getting lucky, honestly. I put that in the same field as sports gambling. It's a little different, but I have another video on that if you want to go check that out. It was actually the first video on this channel, so if you want to go check that, you're more than welcome to. But yeah, trading is definitely number 4. I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, definitely a great way of doing it, and one of my favorite side hustles ever. And I have made a great deal of money off of there, and I've lost a great deal of money on there. So it's definitely a double-edged sword, but awesome. One of my favorite ways of doing a side hustle, especially if you were over the age of 18, or even if you have a custodial account, you can make a pretty penny with not that much. Now, Teachable, I don't really know much about, so I'm kind of going to leave this alone. I don't really know anything about Teachable or Amazon KDP. But yeah, this is my side hustle tier list. I think it is one of the greatest tier lists I've ever. Can't lie. I think it is one of the greatest ones. You know, you have 1, 2, and 3, Wall Street, T-shirts, Etsy, AliExpress, Fiverr, Amazon, shoes, blogging. So I'm going to go ahead and end the video here. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to like the video if you haven't already. And leave a comment down below. What is your favorite side hustle, and which ones have you done? But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. And yeah, peace out.